What is going on YouTube? Today what we're going to be doing is kind of a follow-up to last video where we left off with the issues in Dragon Ball Legends. Today we're taking it back and we're going to look at the ways that they can potentially be looking at fixing what they've done with this whole Broly situation or to promote the movie. It's kind of changed the game and forced into this tiny little bottleneck, but we're going to look at the ways that they can solve this and how things are lined up for Dragon Ball Legends in the future. Stay tuned, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so as usual, all the information for the giveaway is on your screen. Make sure that you're subscribed. You must be a subscriber in order to enter the giveaway. Make sure that you like the video and that you're listening for the 2 questions I'll be asking you throughout the video. Drop those down in the comments with your answers. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So, today what we're looking at are the kind of things that we're expecting to come in the future and how this will be impacted by the existence of Broly and what they could potentially do to fix it, honestly. The movie, eventually that's going to die out. You know, the hype is going to be gone. It won't be in theaters anymore. They won't be looking for sales on that front. So they're going to have to fix the game at that point, right? So now, obviously, power creep is a thing, but I mean, I think power creep is something that we all expect. But we also saw Bardock, the green version originally, kind of stick around for way too long there. And I think that that's something that they may want to kind of correct. Now, they got rid of Bardock with the release of Broly, but now we have a bigger problem on our hands in that it's not just a 10-second super main ability, rather it's the whole character being just completely busted. So I want to talk about a few things here, things that I've heard, things that are announced, things that we're all expecting, and how this will impact the Broly situation, if we can call it that. So now the first thing I want to do is look at the V-Jump scans very quickly here. I think most of you guys have seen it. I posted on Twitter as well. If you have not subscribed to my Twitter, come over and follow me. I post these little announcements as they're released, and it will be in the future as well. So if ever you don't see it on the channel, chances are it's because I already posted on my Twitter, and I will come back to it later, such as these V-Jump scans. So what I wanted to talk about with these scans is, I mean, chances are we're going to get these on Valentine's Day just because they're women, and let's face it, Valentine's Day is a women's holiday. It's be completely real here. Now, what is interesting is that we have, now this is a translation I believe, but I can't confirm that this is 100% accurate. But essentially what it said about Kale is that she is able to destroy the opponent's hand and obstruct combos. So what I'm imagining here is that she'll have kind of remember how the androids could kind of absorb the blast cards when they switch in. I think that's kind of what we're looking at, where combos will be stopped that way. So she may have something where she comes in and her way of stopping will be the melee, the strike cards that she'll counter, something along those lines. I'm not too sure, but we'll have to see how that kind of works out, which is going to be very interesting. Not game breaking, we've had it in the game before. You know, it just kind of stops combos back when it was way more important, right? So for example, when we had sidestepping, stopping a combo was kind of like, oh, well, now if you get hit, you die, right? If you don't have something to stop the combo. So this is going to be a bit less impactful, but very good nonetheless, considering that you can kind of 100-0 someone with one combo these days, depending on who you're using, who they're against. So I completely don't mind this at all. I think this will be great for adding extra kind of planning, right? You don't want to get caught with your pants down when you know they have a kill ready. So not too bad on this. It also says her super attack is the gigantic impact. When she activates her main ability, she is able to inflict debuffing effects on the enemy. So we're going to have some kind of ailment being put on the enemy, most likely some kind of fear type thing. We'll have to see. Maybe she'll do bonus damage. Well, it doesn't really matter at this point. The obstructing combos is likely going to be the main thing. Destroying the opponent's hand is actually very good as well, because then that forces them to not be able to counter. So you can kind of get a free vanish out of them because they won't be able to retaliate quite as hard. Can be very good. As far as Caulifla goes, her super attack is the Crash Cannon. She's able to inflict more damage when fighting against Saiyans and is able to perform well no matter the enemy she is facing. Again, a very good ability. Obviously, she's going to get a damage boost when fighting Saiyans, but more importantly, she's going to have the Broly-ism here where the type advantage won't matter. This, I don't know how I feel about. I think that the whole not having type advantage in the game could be an issue. You know, a lot of the strategy goes into it. You know, if they're removing it left and right, I really don't know how I feel about this. We'll have to see how this kind of moves forward. She will be a Super Saiyan 2 from what I can tell. So we're not gonna have a situation where Caulifla is gonna have this, you know, type advantage immunity and dealing with Super Saiyan Bardock buffing her as well. So that's not a thing. Don't worry, it's off the table. If there is a female character on her team, she increases her damage dealt whenever the enemy switches out. So switching out against her will increase her damage as long as she brings, for example, Kale with her, right? Now, as far as these cards go, will they change the Broly situation? I don't think so. I think that Kale will be able to stop combos. I mean, Broly already doesn't care about type advantage, so I mean, the fact that Caulifla doesn't care about it either, not a big deal. But if she can't actually do anything to Broly because she gets her blast cards eaten with his strike card, it's not gonna change anything for the meta. But I do like that she's getting more damage against Saiyans, so a potential to do more damage to Broly, right, as they switch. Now, Kale is going to be the wild card here. Depends how good the obstruction of combos is. Now, moving on, just because I don't want to dwell too long on these V-Jump scans, we know that anything can happen as these are released. So that's as much as we'll discuss these. What I do want to talk about is a direction that I think has been overlooked in the game that could be quite an easy fix to Broly. So I want to bring your attention back to what they did with the green unit issue. Now, if you'll remember that part, a specific time in the game where green units were all over the place, it was a really big deal. You know, we had a ton of overpowered units such as Bardock, and essentially what they did is they released an item that reduced damage done by or damage taken rather by blue units against these green units. So basically, there was a time where bringing blue units was just impossible. Nobody was bringing blue units; they were completely useless. You know, we had Pan, Krillin, those units never used just because there were so many green units that were just destroying them. And then they released this item, and honestly, it did make things better. It's still today one of the must-have items on blue units, right? So whether you're running Bardock, whether you're running Kaioken Goku, any of the top tier blue units, basically, you must use this item, which I believe was gained, I want to say, from PvP in one of the seasons. But essentially, something like that could potentially be a great fix to the current situation in the game. So, who are the main offenders in the game, right? Well, Broly, obviously, a Super Saiyan. Big deal. That being said, Red Broly, not so big of a deal, right? I would say the free-to-play Broly is probably the most balanced unit because he doesn't bring over-the-top stats. He doesn't go through blast cards. He doesn't do anything crazy. He buffs his team, which is amazing. Obviously, you guys know my movie team, absolutely overpowered because of all of the synergy, but the purple Broly is kind of what takes it up and above, over and beyond. If that were removed from the equation, I think the movie team would drop significantly below the Holy Trinity. They're already very close together. The Z ability buff are just barely bringing the movie team above the Holy Trinity, but the Holy Trinity itself, being the easy peasy team in the game, consists of full Super Saiyans, right? So we have the Gogeta issue, we have the Super Saiyan Bardock issue, and we have the Broly issue. So looking at items, considering that the last possible Super Saiyan, being Future Gohan, was released, maybe except for Super Saiyan Kaba, but I can't imagine Super Saiyan Kaba being this, you know, end-all sparking unit. So essentially, they could release an item that basically nerfs Super Saiyans. And I know that this may upset a lot of people, particularly whales that went for 7 stars on the Holy Trinity, but I think that at this point they have to realize that they've created a problem with the Broly issue, and when you have one unit that is a problem, again, right, units don't define the meta. A Z tier unit or whatever does not matter. We saw the hybrids be Z tier for the longest time when the teams are completely useless, right? But the thing is that when you have a unit that is defining the meta, generally there's there's going to be a team that has to be played around that unit if it is that overpowered. So now Broly being that unit, now that pay to win kind of unit, this is why we see nothing but the Holy Trinity and my movie team, just because they buff that unit. So if they were to take away the whole Super Saiyan situation, they would address only what is in the game currently without nerfing themselves for the future. So for example, the next Gogeta that would be released could start in base form and then transform directly to blue. Now I know that we have already seen in the game the AI go from base form, and then in phase 2 he goes to Super Saiyan, but given that we already have a Super Saiyan Gogeta, I think that this can be kind of skipped over and have him go from base form to the Super Saiyan blue version, just because it would be kind of redundant to have kind of a new unit be an underpowered version of something that we already have. Narratively, I think that would just not make sense, whereas you can go from base form to Super Saiyan blue and then have the red Super Saiyan Gogeta as well to kind of cover the range of that unit, or of that character rather. So that being said, guys, that's just my take on it. Items to fix the Broly situation and then address the item situation later on. You know, I think that it's better to work around one item rather than work around one unit in this situation, because it kind of sets a precedence for every other unit, whereas we just don't care. For example, about the last banner, the future banner, nobody cared. Nobody cared. I love the future sagas. It is one of my favorite things about Dragon Ball in general. Anything that happens in the future I think is really, really cool, and I did not care about that banner just because the existence of Broly makes it completely useless. They're completely obsolete even before being released. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. Just wanted to kind of get that discussion rolling about how to fix the game in a healthy way. So if you guys want to keep that going, just go ahead, drop that down in the comments. I'll make that the first question. What is your suggestion to fixing the problem that is Broly right now? And the second question will be about the Valentine's release. Do you think that Kale and Caulifla will be released on Valentine's Day? And do you think that they'll actually be good? Do you think that they'll be meta definers, right? Or are we going to have another future kind of banner that just is already forgotten, basically, right? So anyways, guys, drop that down in the comments. Make sure that you're subscribed, that you're liking the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.